Welcome to the Midwest Education Technology Communities Podcast, otherwise known as METC. METC is a nonprofit organization based out of St. Louis, Missouri, with a mission to motivate, engage, transform, and connect all learners to advocacy, partnerships, and professional learning opportunities. METC is a premier affiliate of ISTE. To learn more about METC, follow us on social media at METC Ed Plus. You may also check out our website at metcedplus.org. METC is a program of Education Plus. To learn more about Education Plus, go to edplus.org. It is now time to begin our current episode. We thank you for listening and enjoy the learning. This is the METC Podcast, a show where we share the awesome stories of educators from our region. Welcome. My name is Jonathan Lee. You can follow me on Twitter at JLeeTech%. Happy 2019, everyone. Hopefully your holiday break was restful and happy. We here at METC are very excited for January 2019, mostly because we are exactly 30 days away from our 36th annual conference upon this release of this episode. Everything is coming together, and it is going to be an amazing 3 days. I truly hope that you will be able to join us for either 1, 2, or all 3 days of this fantastic education technology conference. All information can be found on our website at metcedplus.org. Hope to connect with all of you at this conference. This episode is a part of our Spotlight Educator series. Each year at our METC conference, we recognize outstanding educators that have been first nominated and then evaluated to determine if they meet Spotlight status. This year, we have 8 Spotlight educators that will be recognized at our conference. These Spotlights also play an important role at our conference each year. Each one will be presenting a session each day. This gives our participants an opportunity to learn from their grand experience. In this episode, I sat down and talked with Roger Brallier. He is an innovation/library media specialist teacher in the Hollister School District down in Hollister, Missouri. Roger shares his expertise in giving students a voice in their school by helping get the news out to their staff and students. It all sounds pretty amazing. We talked so long that I had to split our conversation up into 2 different episodes. Within this episode, we talk about his morning broadcast crew, how his students receive professional development throughout their course, how the students use digital signage within their school cafeteria to help provide an opportunity to share that message, and how the students run the school social media accounts. That kind of sounds scary, doesn't it? But it's all pretty neat stuff. So let's get right into the conversation. Here is episode 53 of the METC podcast with Roger Brallier of the Hollister School District talking about student communication. Enjoy. Hello there, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the METC podcast. I am Jonathan Lee, your host. I am here with another special guest. His name is Roger Brallier, and he is from the Hollister School District, and he is a 2019 Spotlight Educator for the METC conference. So he is one of our spotlights. So he's part of the METC podcast Spotlight series. So we're excited to have you on the episode here, Roger.
Thank you, Jonathan. Boy, that's a mouthful to say there, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is, man.
Jonathan, I'm thrilled to be here. I got to say that at the very start. METC is such a great organization. I've attended this conference for years, so it was such a privilege to get to represent not only our school district, but educational technology in general. So I'm just thrilled. I love being a digital evangelist for our students because, as you know, they do some amazing things. I'm so excited to be here.
Yep, well, great. We're glad we were able to hook up. Been playing some calendar tag here the last couple of days, and he's got some exciting events having down at his school, so we were able to finally hook up and get this sucker recorded. So the topic of this episode is all about telling our story, and I'm really excited about this topic. One, for the fact that I've talked with Roger about it and what the students are doing within their school, but also, and that's telling our story is really the purpose of this podcast. I get the luxury of visiting schools throughout the state of Missouri, and there's so many awesome things going on, and teachers don't really realize that. And so my goal of this podcast is to kind of help promote and tell the story of the different educators throughout the world. We've got a lot of podcasts to choose from, and listen to a lot of podcasts on my own. They interview specialists and high power people all over the country, all over the world, which is awesome. I love listening to those, but I like to focus in on those that people don't know, because we got amazing teachers that do amazing work that are in the trenches per se, and you're definitely one of them. So I'm excited. Just talking off air, learning about all the stuff that you're doing with your kids is just amazing. I can't wait to see them at our school. So let's get right into it and talk about what we're going to talk about. So you have a program or a department, I guess, where it's student-led marketing communications. Can you kind of expand and explain a little bit more on that, and then kind of guide me where I want to go from there?
You bet you, absolutely, Jonathan. When you're out in the community, you'll hear a lot of people say, these kids today, and often it's not a great ending to that sentence. They will say negative things about our students, and I got to tell you, as an educator and having worked in the private sector for longer than I did as an educator, it boils my blood, because our kids do amazing things. And teachers can talk till we're blue in the face about the great things that the kids are doing. But sometimes it's kind of nice just to let the people, I'm from Missouri, show me. I like when the students themselves get out there and they're the ones telling the story, because that's what's a very much a reality in the classroom in which I teach, and here in our district as well. Our kids are the ones telling the story. They do marketing for our student-led clubs. They do marketing for some of our community members. I have a group of students that just designed and got approval from the Branson Airport, because we have an alliance with them, and they're designing and have designed now the next billboard that goes with our partnership. And that just came because I said, hey, I'd like the students to have a crack at this. And they said, well, sure. And by golly, if they didn't like the design that the students did, and made very few corrections to it. So when you take off the handcuffs of students and you give them guidelines and high expectations, I'll tell you, Jonathan, they will rise to it almost every time.
Absolutely. I saw that within my own classroom. We always had jobs, right? And jobs was not a cool way to say it. So right. We changed them to leadership roles, and really that's just what a job is. But we give the students leadership, or we give them a chance to become leaders. And I had teachers all the time come and see them and be like, "What, you let your kids do this?" I'm like, "Yeah," and they're amazing on it. It takes so much stuff off of me, and allowed me to do so many things that I wish I could have done because I didn't have enough time. But I agree with you. Students can do a lot of what
they can do it all, because the bottom line is I know what they need to know, the basics of it, but until they discover why it's important, it really doesn't hold much value to them. I literally am the engineer on the train that's shoveling the coal into the engine. The kids are the ones directing us. I know where we're going, and I know how we're going to get there, but I let them make the decisions on how, the little things. For example, when we do our daily announcements, which are done live over YouTube, I'm not even in the room. I have a floor manager that makes sure that our talent have updated the announcements that the teachers have put into a Google form, that we have slides, that make sure our soundboard is working. They've done microphone checks, changed all the batteries. The computer slides are ready to go, that the computer program is ready to go. And bear in mind, these are 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, and they get a lot of choice in our classroom. I know the basics they need to know. But then in the classroom, we have seminars where they can choose the extras that they want to learn more about and become exceptional in, and not just proficient. So students are designing not only the live broadcast. We have televisions. We use a digital device that lets us stream from Google Slides out to, right now, 4 televisions in the cafeteria. Each one of those tells a little bit of a different story. It might be what's going on in classrooms. It might be welcoming new students. We take a picture and post up the new student pictures as they come into our district. Some of them are quotes and memes, when it's okay to have fun at school. So they will have funny jokes on there. Some of it's inspirational, but the students design all of those. Right now there are 4. We have 6 more that are getting ready to go up on the hallways that students will still be running as well. We just, like I said before, I can't stress enough, you take off the handcuffs and you let the students go, and they're as long as they have clear direction and know that they have some voice in it, they're going to get excited about it, and that's what's fun to watch.
Absolutely. So, all right. So we've covered a lot already in just a short amount of time. So let's organize this out a little bit. So you've talked about how they've gotten opportunities to deal with marketing outside. So we're going to talk about the outside here down the road, but I want to stick with the inside stuff first.
Okay.
Let's start with the daily announcements. How is this structured? Is this a course they take? Do they sign up with you to be on this? When do they do all of this?
It is a course. It's basically a broadcast class that is first hour of the day. We have a couple sections within that course, but my kids that are the talent, the morning crew that does the announcements, that do those each day, they get here a little bit earlier, and they sign up for it so they can come in, 30 minutes or so before school. They don't necessarily have to, but we have a form on my webpage, through the library's webpage, that teachers, students, even community members can put in announcements that need to go out before the student body. Our floor manager will come in. They will cut those that go into the Google spreadsheet, put it into a Google document to make the script for our talent. Then they copy and paste that into our teleprompter program. And that's how the slides are done, how the announcements are done. They can also make a slide then that goes with it, so we don't have to look at the talent all the time. It gives the visual learners a chance for something to look at as well. And then our computer operators, which are students again, put that all together, and it just flows at 8 o'clock. When the morning bell rings, they start a 60-second countdown. And the goal is to do all of our school announcements within 3 minutes, and that even includes a live look at weather, including sometimes radar, 3-day or a 7-day forecast. So we have a live weatherman before a green screen as well.
Wow. So a lot of moving parts within that. So how long does it take to kind of get that off the ground first? When, let's say it's August 16th or whenever school started, how long before you go live each year?
Well, this year we wanted to go live in 3 days. It took us about a week and a half to get everybody up there. Next year we're hoping to go live on the first day because you have students that return. We kind of changed formats this year, so we did have a little bit of training, and I had a few returning students last year. Most of them had graduated. We went from a class with about 18 students to 40. So we had some numbers to work with there. Yeah. That was a big adjustment for me as well. But within about 2 weeks, we were able to go back live. And, every day is a new adventure. Sometimes it's live television. So sometimes microphones quit on us, or there are glitches, or the computers crash. But again, the kids learn so much from doing it live. It's not pre-recorded. They have to do it all. So our mistakes are very public as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so live every morning, 8 o'clock. And so when does school start at 8 o'clock, I assume then?
Yep, it sure does, yeah. Monday through Friday, it starts at 8. Fridays are always a different day for us. We have an early out. So we have an assembly. Typically on Fridays, we go at about 10 till 8 while everybody's in the gym, and it goes to the student body at once on a big projector in the gym. Otherwise, the students are watching it in their first hour classrooms, where the teachers pull it up through the link on our TechBrary page, which is just techbrary.com, or they can go to our Tiger 5 News on YouTube and subscribe and watch it there.
And so I guess they have to get there. How early do they have to come in to get things prepared?
Well, buses start dropping kids off around 7:30, and that's usually enough time because it's just down to such a routine now. The teachers know that, hey, they need the announcements in by 7:30 at the latest. We can squeeze in one later sometimes, but it just depends upon how many announcements there are. Yesterday was a little crazy. We had some weather coming through, so we had several cancellations that came in last minute as far as practices. So the kids were very flexible, and they wear earpieces, so we can actually even shoot a note to them through just a regular radio that you can get at Amazon or Walmart, just a walkie-talkie, and we can say, hey, make sure you announce this as well. So
okay, very cool. So
more than enough usually.
Yeah, okay, very neat. So this is an elective course, I would imagine.
It is an elective course, yes.
Okay, and so and you have a mixture of 6th, 7th, and 8th graders in that course?
That's correct. Yep. We like getting, I like the variety, and it kind of breaks down those barriers, because when we get to the workforce, we're not separated by grade or by age. So it lets them start learning that at a young age and learning how how to collaborate and work, and realizing that sometimes people that are older are smarter, and sometimes the younger folks have a little more to bring to the table in certain areas. So that's a real life lesson that they get at school.
Absolutely. And so they get there a little early. They broadcast pretty much right at 8 o'clock. They get done
Right.
probably 8:05, maybe 8:10, right?
And no, we're done by 8:05 every day because we're taking into classroom time, and we don't want to take away their educational hours. So we're done by 8:05.
And do they spend the rest of their hours planning for the following day or following week stories, or what do they work
Nope,
on?
that's where we took a whole different approach, and I kind of turned it into a professional development type of class. Because it only takes about 8 people to do the live news. Well, with 40 people, that leaves a lot to do other things. So when our class starts, as soon as the news is over, kids have areas they sign up for, so they can specialize in the digital boards, which is our billboards out on the televisions where they do the slides. We have students that specialize in doing news stories, making commercials. I have equipment managers. And then those that don't fill up those jobs, we do seminars, and they can sign up for different seminars where they learn about First Amendment rights, or how do you better use a camera, or Final Cut Pro, and they get to kind of direct their own learning. I have 5 big things they all have to take, and then after that there's about 10 other subjects that the kids can choose to specialize in, whether it be marketing, or how to use GarageBand, or how to use Audacity, or do effective research. They get to choose what path they want to take.
That's very cool. Very cool. So there's a lot of learning that goes on beyond just the daily announcements. It's not like that's the only thing they do. They do.
Oh, yeah. Our goal is here very soon. We're going to be starting to do probably a bi-weekly at this point news magazine, much like 60 Minutes, where the students' stories they've been working on are featured on that news show.
Okay.
And that won't be live. We'll use the same program, but we won't stream it live. It'll be pre-recorded and then posted, or I don't know. It's up to the kids. They may very well say, no, we want to do this live too. So
very nice.
Because we also do record it so people can see it afterwards.
Yeah, gotcha. All right, and so let's talk about these the TVs you have around the school, and the content you push out there. So, what kind of content do you push out to these television screens across the school?
Whatever the students need to know. For example, we have a community group that's selling phone rings coming up on Thursday as part of a booster club. We have a slide that's going out there for that. We have slides that wish happy birthday to the people that have birthdays that week, or welcoming new students to remind them to pay their lunch bills, school dances, anything that you would hear on a school announcement, you're going to see out there. We do training seminars throughout the week. For example, we're doing some cool stuff with virtual reality and the Oculus Rift program, and the kids have to go through a training session. They can sign up during their lunch period. So we post those dates out there, not only on the news, but also on the digital boards as well. So anything that you want to tell the student body, we also make slides, and we push those out there to our cafeteria televisions.
Very nice, very nice. And so, did you say social media too?
Yes, we do. We have an Instagram account. We of course have a Facebook page. This year we even set up a Snapchat page. I figure NASA is on Snapchat with some daily things that they do. Well, why shouldn't the Hollister Middle School? Because we do some pretty cool things here as well. So, and the students run that. They do a lot of that. We give an iPod to different students throughout the day and say, hey, let's go get some pictures of what's going on in classrooms. And then they push that media out there as well. So it teaches them, A, they're getting ownership of that. B, they're learning how to be socially responsible and internet responsible as far as what is going out there as far as quality pictures. Are they captioned right? Is their spelling right? Because the world's going to see it.
So I want to make sure that one, I heard you right, and there was no issue with the sound quality on that. So you're telling me that your students are not only allowed to be on social media, but they actually run and publish content for your school on those 3 social media bands.
Absolutely, because it's their school. If it was just me doing it, then the kids aren't telling the story, and it means a whole lot more when they can go to their parents or their grandparents or their friends and say, "Hey, I did this post." If they spell something wrong, believe you me, the kids are going to say, "Hey, you spelled that wrong," because they've told me about that. The bottom line is we still have the password, so if they post something and it's not happened, but if they post something that probably shouldn't go out, well, we can pull it down as well. But yeah, you see their sense of ownership and pride increase dramatically when you realize to them, hey, when they realize I have a voice in this. This is my school. This is our social media. I want to make sure that we are represented well. Now, we don't just, cavalierly give out these things. They have to go through some training, and we talk to them beforehand. That some of these positions are interview type of positions because they are giving a position of leadership and responsibility. We want to make sure that they uphold that, and yet we've been not been let down yet.
That's pretty cool, because I wasn't sure if you were aware, because I've been told, and this may be a newsflash for some of you, because I've been told this by a lot of teachers, that these are kids, Roger, and they act inappropriately when it comes to social media, and they shouldn't be trusted with that kind of stuff in a school setting.
Yeah, well, how do we do that if we can't trust it? Yeah, I've heard that too. But Jonathan, I know adults that act irresponsibly on social media.
No, come on,
right? Right? It's a lot easier to be brave behind a keyboard than it is to have a real conversation sometimes. And it's important that our students learn that now, because again, if they abuse that privilege, and it is a privilege, if they abuse it, well, they're not going to get the chance to do it again until they can earn that respect and responsibility back. And what a better place to make mistakes than in school, than being out in the workplace and losing a job, which could affect, their families in future years. We try to think ahead. I've heard this so many times, and I couldn't agree more. We're training these students for jobs that don't even exist yet, and that has never been more true than what it is today. So if we can teach them to think critically, to be responsible, to be respectful, what better tools can we give them? Yeah, they're going to get math, they're going to get reading, they're going to get their writing. But if we can teach them that, in addition to how to be a responsible, respectable citizen in a digital world, gosh, I think that's a win-win for us and for them as well.
So I think you've kind of hit on that last little part there. So what I'm hearing is that you are a proponent for teaching our kids, and I think that's kind of our job, right? Teaching our kids to be good digital citizens and not just ban them from digital tools.
Absolutely, because here's the deal. Usually it's only one or two. Yes, are there people that are going to make mistakes with the students that will make mistakes or do something irresponsible? Yes, there are adults that do the exact same thing. And I'm not a proponent of, well, ban it all from everybody because one or two or five students couldn't handle the responsibility, because then you're doing a disservice to the other 99% that are handling it correctly and want to go out there and make a positive impact upon our world. Jonathan, in 6 years, some of these kids are going to be working beside us. And in 6 years, I might be in a nursing home, and one of them might be a nurse's aide. I want them to be able to think critically.
No, absolutely. That's one good way to look. I hope I'm not in a nursing home in 6 years.
Well, I'm thinking of wreck. I don't want that either. I'm still pretty full of life, But the bottom line is, they might be the one that's ringing us up at the department store. They're going to be coworkers, not just students and teachers. And as I look back over my educational career, the teachers that I have the most respect for still, many years later, are those that treated me as a person, trained me for life. I couldn't tell you exactly what I learned in sixth grade, but I can tell you what some of the things my teachers in sixth grade taught me, as far as life goes, because I still think about them today.
Absolutely. All right. Well, it's glad I'm, preaching to the choir here on my end. It's glad. I'm always excited to hear someone kind of say the same thing I've been saying for quite a while now. And I come up with schools all the time that give me that, well, we got to have this software because, kids are going to cheat, or we can't do online assessments because kids are going to cheat. And also I was like, well, I didn't realize cheating was a new thing. And
right. And it's not. And here's the deal. If your students have respect for you as a teacher, yeah, again, 1% may try to cheat. But also, if you're an effective educator, you're not just sitting monitoring what they're doing on the computer. You're up and you're walking around. You have got a rapport and a relationship. So when a student makes a mistake, I can make them feel more remorseful by saying, gosh, I'm not mad, but I'm so disappointed that you made that choice. That is so much more effective than, oh, you cheated, go to the office. Because they're going to have a consequence. They realize then that we're not just teachers, we're people as well, that we count upon each other. In some of, I'll tell you what, the program we use for our broadcast, my students that specialize in that area know more about that program than I do. When they push out an update, my kids are on it. In fact, if one of them's sick, I don't know necessarily how to teach that portion of it. And that was a pill that I had to learn to swallow and think, it's okay if I don't know everything because we look like a newsroom. What you'd expect in a newspaper or a magazine or a television studio when we're on a production, and that's okay. And my students are engaged. They're learning from things. And have they made mistakes? Yes, they absolutely have. And they've learned more from those than me sitting up there in front of a classroom saying, fill in the blanks on these notes as I give you notes and there will be a test. My kids are tested every time they go live. Every time their stories and commercials are aired or they are shown out on the television screens, they are tested right then with a real audience. That's why my students want to excel and do great things.
That's awesome. And so, yeah, I agree with you more and everything. So, well, we will pick up there in episode 54 of the podcast. What student voice, right? You can check out their live news coverage each morning. A link to their website is linked in the show notes at METC Ed Plus for this particular episode. Or you can search the Tiger 5 News YouTube page. I love how their students receive professional development on the topics that are most relevant for them to be successful within this environment. I also love the vocabulary that Roger used to describe his students. Words like client, talent, interviews. Words that you hear in the professional world. But these students are getting that experience now. How cool is that? I thought it was pretty cool to hear that they are also responsible for the content that is displayed on the television screens within their cafeteria, and that they're adding more screens next year. Must mean that that's very popular and very important. How cool is it that their students are responsible for posting to their social media feed? Is it cool or scary? I think it's pretty innovative, actually. That is hands-on digital citizenship right there for sure. Very neat stuff. Be sure to tune in to the rest of my conversation with Roger next week. So how do you provide opportunity of student voice in your school or classroom? Connect with us on social media at METC Ed Plus. When posting responses to questions like those, use the hashtag METC Podcast. Share your thoughts about this topic or any of the topics from our previous episodes. I want to thank you for listening to our podcast. I know you have many different choices out there, and I greatly appreciate you choosing us. If you know someone who might benefit from this content, please share. Are you enjoying the podcast? Leave feedback on either iTunes or Google Play. This feedback and rating helps others find the podcast. Once again, hope that you are able to come see Roger and all of our spotlights in person at the 36th Annual METC Conference. Learn more at metcedplus.org. Until our next episode, have a good one, everyone. Thank you for listening to the Midwest Education Technology Communities podcast, otherwise known as METC. To learn more about METC, check out our website at metcedplus.org or follow us on social media at METC Ed Plus. To learn more about Education Plus, go to edplus.org.